Hi, I'm Rachel Wilson. I voice Heather on Total Drama Island. Drop dead, you goof. And you are listening and watching Joey Z on Du Bois Podcast.
Soon it'll be you out there.
I don't know.
It will, Stevie.
Heather! Meet you by the campfire, gorgeous.
Drop dead, you goof.
So if you hate her, why are you being nice to her?
You ever seen one of these shows before? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Oh. I'm your friend, right?
Oh yeah, for now. Ooh, shouldn't have mocked you for having to dig. Help me out and I'll be your human drill rig.
You think I'm gonna fall for that? Ain't a tea party, it's combat.
Welcome back to another episode of Boys Podcast. My guest today is a voice actress, director, and producer. You may have seen her as Tamira Goldstein in Breaker High, Marla Burns in Mystery Alaska, and you may have heard her voice as Melinda Wilson and Tara Johansson in 16 and Heather in the Total Drama series, and many more. So welcome the beautiful legend, Miss Rachel Wilson. Welcome, Rachel.
Hi, Joe.
It's an honor having you on, Rachel. So what have you been up to? How are you doing, Rachel?
I'm really good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, just doing more of these interviews, hanging out, interviewing some of my favorite people. Rachel Wilson. So.
Amazing. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. So what made you want to become a voice actress and actress? And who would you say is your biggest inspiration?
Well, that is a really great question. So I feel like they're two kind of different things, voice acting and on-camera acting. Although, as my friend Scott McCord told me, who you probably have interviewed, a lot of the same principles apply when you're creating a voice character, obviously, as you're making you're working on camera. But I would say in terms of acting, like on-camera acting, I started when I was pretty young. I was 9, I think, when I was first on stage, and then I got an on-camera agent around 12, and I can't really remember what made me want to do theater, but I do remember what made me want to do on-camera, and I think I was around 12 or 13, and I saw a production of Les Mis in Toronto, Les Miserables, the musical, and maybe your viewers may not know that because I'm not exactly young. So anyway, but Les Mis was a musical that ran for lots of years, and there was such beautiful acting and singing and performances in that I was like, wow, this is something that I think I would like to do. It affected me very profoundly, and I think that was around the time that I was like, this is something I would really like to do. Voice acting came a lot later for me. I didn't start working as a professional voice actor until I was in my, I would say, mid 20s. And I started doing voice commercial work, and then I booked Total Drama. So I always love, Total Drama. I always love using my voice. I like to sing. I'm not a professional singer. I sing more for myself. Don't worry, I don't have an album, but I like to sing. I like to use my voice that way. So when I was given the opportunity to use it for commercials and for animation, it was really awesome. It's one of my very favorite parts of being an artist as an actor. I like that part a lot. That was a really long answer. Sorry.
Yeah, you said sing. I'm glad you mentioned it because you sang in World Tour.
You know what? I do. And I was so excited that they decided to make it a musical. I was like, oh, that's the best. And group singing is the best too, because then you're not totally singled out, but you could do harmonies. And yeah, it was so fun that they did that. I loved that part of that season. It was really great. Did you enjoy that season?
That was my favorite season because I love the singing. The songs are so catchy.
You love music too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love music.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know. It's the best. I was playing that game. I don't know if you've ever played a board game called Pick Your Poison. Do you know this game? It's like a card game, and it's kind of like a would you rather game.
Okay.
Between two terrible choices. And one of the questions was, would you rather live in a world without music or whatever the other one was? And I was like, no, never. I could never live in a world without music. It would be so sad. So yeah, that's how much I like music for sure.
And then you mentioned Scott McCord. He's actually another one of my best friends. I actually interviewed him too. He was really
Oh,
cool.
amazing! You guys have both interviewed him.
Yes, I got to
Isn't he
interview
the
him.
loveliest?
He's so nice. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like last year for my birthday, he actually called me up and wished me a happy birthday and left me a cool voicemail.
That's totally Scott. That's so amazing. He's got the biggest heart.
Yeah, he's like Owen. Like he's got like
He is, but he just doesn't look like Owen. He is a really big heart. He plays what he has. I hope you don't think I'm evil. I swear I'm not exactly Heather.
in my opinion, you're like the opposite of Heather. Like based on the emails, even in general, like you seem really cool.
Well, I thank you. I think that the fun part sometimes with acting, which I'm sure Scott's gotten to play lots of things that are very different from him, is to be able to do something that you don't normally get to do. And voice work allows you to do that. Because on camera, because I don't look mean particularly, I wouldn't be your first choice for like the villain. But I got so I was like, I want to be the bad evil person. Nobody's like, no, you're the girl next door. Like you're the nice mom or you're whatever. So to be able to play Heather was just an awesome gift to be able to be evil because nobody sees your face. It was good. It was really fun. Yeah.
And you talked about Scott. Like I always like to recommend people his new show, like newer show From. Did you see it yet? It's really
I
good.
haven't seen it yet, but is it great?
Oh my god. The second season premiered. The second season aired on Sunday. Really good.
So good. Is it scary?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get scared easily. It's kind of like jump scary, if that makes sense.
It's jump scary. Great. Yeah, no, I really want to check it out. That's his newest show that he's done, right?
Really good. Yes. Really good.
I just actually worked with the young boy from the show. He's amazing. His name's Simon Webster. And he on the set of the film that we were on was like, I know Scott. Scott's like the best. And I was like, me too. I just feel like everything is sort of like, there's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's like 6 degrees of Scott McCord. Scott's going to laugh if he sees this interview. But it seems like whenever I mention his name, everybody knows him. Everybody really likes him. And it's nice.
Yeah, him and Scott have a lot of scenes together. Simon. Him, if you want to know. Simon and Scott are like best friends in the show, basically. Like,
yeah, they work together a lot, right? Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. But yeah.
I look forward to seeing it. That's cool that you like it.
Yeah. Like even if there's like a new project that you're on, I like to promote my guests' new projects. So if there's any projects you want, like you're on, I'll tell my friends.
Oh, you're so lovely. Yeah, for sure. Well, the movie that I worked on with Simon is called The Invisibles, and it's in post right now, and it's a lovely film, and I'm excited. I don't know when they're going to have it ready. They're just in the post production, starting to edit it right now, so it could be a little while. But it stars Tim Blake Nelson and Simon Webster and Gretchen Mall's in it, and it's a cool story about a couple who's not doing great, and then the husband, that's Tim Blake Nelson, kind of starts to disappear from the real world, and he finds himself in this place called the Invisible World, and then sort of what ensues is he goes through a journey and has like life lessons, and it's just like it's cool. It's a bit, I feel like maybe I'm describing it wrong, but sort of like a fantastical romance sort of, so it has like fantasy elements to it and romantic and some comedic, and was a really special movie to work on. And Simon plays his son in the movie, so we got to be in some scenes together. Cool. Yeah, I
think I read on the Kara you play.
My name is Kara, and I'm in the other world, and I play his ex-girlfriend from high school. So it was really fun, and I look forward to seeing it when it comes out, and hopefully you get to see it too.
Awesome. I think you got that come up in Dear David from our
Yeah. I'm really excited about Dear David. I don't know exactly when they're going to release it. It's a horror movie, and I do like working on horror movies, although I'm too scared and I generally can't watch them. But I like the actual process of doing them. I read the script and was like, oh no, I don't think I can ever watch this movie because it's scary. And I have it's to play a part where I have to be like very not great to my son in it. So there's like some hard parts. Yeah. So it's based on a real story about a guy who worked for Buzz. I believe it's called BuzzFeed, there's like a website, and basically it's a story about a guy who moves into an apartment and is haunted by this ghost named Dear David, who's like a young boy. So it's like already when the ghost is a young child, it's very creepy. So Dear David is the ghost, and they're editing it. It's in post right now, and hopefully it will have a release soon. It stars Augustus Prew and Justin Long, and they're both very good in the film. Yeah.
See, I do research on my guests, so you're probably like, wow.
So yeah. Oh, I can tell your stuff. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I'll be sure to check out both those to help support you, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Now, what is your favorite acting role you portrayed? And can you please do, I know it's kind of your voice, but some of Heather's voice.
Yeah, oh my gosh, for sure. Well, for sure, like I just said, Heather was like one of the most fun characters I've ever got to play. And though it wasn't on camera, it was still a very rewarding, fun experience because she's really just not a nice person. And I'm just like, Joe, can you just, can you move it forward, please? This interview is like so boring. And then I'll be like, maybe we should form an alliance. And she's like, you're supposed to keep your enemies close and your friends closer. But basically, I feel like on the show, she doesn't have any friends, and she's just mean all the time to everybody. And it feels funny because I feel like nobody really, she doesn't care to have friends. So it doesn't matter what she does. She's just so cutthroat. That's the interesting part about the character is she doesn't seem to have too much remorse for really any horrible behavior that she engages in. But you know that at the bottom, what I always felt like, the way I sort of worked with her was she had some kind of deep-seated need to win because she must have had some need to be validated. So like every human is, motivated by something. So the character of Heather was like that for me. But yeah, so fun to be pretend nice and then mean. She's like, Lindsay, I was just wondering, would you be, oh my God, your necklace is so nice. And she's like, really? She's like, no. She's like, it's not. It's the ugliest necklace I've ever seen. But, and then also what's fun about the characters, people love to laugh at people who are evil. So always Heather has things happen, like, when she gets her head shaved or she falls off a cliff, or when she, when people do mean things to her, it's funny because she's always doing mean things to other people. So that was really fun to play too. The whole season when she's like bald was pretty fun. Oh. Because she's so vain too. She has no hair. She just looks horrific.
Her and Alejandro like a dynamic duo too, which is awesome.
Oh, I know. And I think, okay, that is the one time where you sort of see a crack in her armor because she falls for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're both evil. And then character-wise, I've played like a lot of characters on screen that I've enjoyed, but I'm trying to remember like one of my very first movies that I ever did, which was pretty fun, was a hockey movie called Mystery Alaska, and that was one of my favorite like on-screen film roles because I hadn't really done a leading role in a film. I had in high school, but that was the one that sort of stuck out for me. It was fun because I worked with Burt Reynolds and Russell Crowe was in the movie, and it was like this cool town in Canmore. They built Canmore, Alberta, like a whole town, basically. And they sort of like made a lake and made a church and made a schoolhouse, and we had a really cool experience shooting there. And then TV wise, I've gotten the opportunity to play some great stuff too. But I guess for me, I think definitely I'd have to say I worked on a show called Republic of Doyle, and it was a really fun character to play. She was a bit unhinged, and she was like bright, and she was a doctor, but she was also like super in love with the main character who just broke her heart over and over, Alan Hawko's character. And so it was fun to play a part where I got to have real highs and lows, and she didn't really understand about communication and relationships, and she was very like volatile, so I got to throw some things and have some emotional breakdowns. And it's always fun as a character to play in your sort of unsafe zone, or your zone that's a little bit on edge, where you can take risks and maybe you might fall on your face, but you're just gonna go for it anyway, because sometimes people do that in real life. Often people do that in real life, right?
Dr. Nikki, I think, from our
Yeah, I played Nikki, Dr. Nikki Reynolds. Yeah, and she was really trying hard to get her life back on track, but she just kept kind of getting pulled into this sort of toxic relationship that didn't give her what she needed. So I could relate to that, because I've had good relationships and bad relationships. And I just love playing characters that are a bit messy and real and truthful and that have dichotomies in them, right? It's just not black. It's not black and white. There's like gray areas. You know, she's smart. She's a doctor. She's cool. She's got one part of her life together, but then her love life is like not going great, because you know, we all have reasons that we can't make relationships work sometimes, right? So yeah, that was a fun character to play for sure. I enjoyed that a lot, and I also had a really good time with the last one. I'll say playing. I played a woman who was a real person, and that's always really fun. Her name was Janet DeRosier, and she was actually Joe Kennedy Sr.'s assistant and lover during the time that the Kennedys were together. But there was quite a bit of controversy when we were making this miniseries about, you know, being careful to present it in a way that wanted to be presented in terms of the Kennedy family. So the original script had a lot of like real life details, and then we, you know, when we did it, it was a bit more of a chilled out version. But I got to do some very fun research in terms of like who she was and where she's from, and there were pictures of her, and you know, she's a real person, so I didn't want to I wanted to be as true to what I knew about her as I could. And I worked with Tom Wilkinson. He played Joe Kennedy, and he was amazing. And there were some really great acting learning moments that I got having that experience. And it was period. I like doing stuff where you're playing a period piece, so you feel costume and hair and makeup helps so much when you're creating a character and trying to play someone who is a real person. That was really a very rewarding, fun, cool experience. Yeah.
It was crazy too. Like when you mentioned Mystery Alaska, like when I saw it, I was like, wow, she was in. Like I actually liked them. It was like I rewatches like she was in Mystery Alaska, and I watched it like holy like what?
So long ago. I know, it was a long time ago. And I would feel bad if I didn't say I didn't love playing Tamira Goldstein, because I also really love Breaker High. And I was like so overwhelmed by the way people enjoyed that show. And at the time I was really young, like I was like 19. So I didn't really fully understand, you know, what the show was going to be like, how it would be received. We did 44 episodes in 8 months, and we were supposed to do 65 in a year. We did almost 3 seasons of the show.
That's a lot.
It was crazy, but they canceled us before we syndicate. They canceled us before we finished our run. It's because they could syndicate after 44 episodes, I believe, is what they did. So then they could run it everywhere in all the different countries, and but that was fun because that was my first time away on location. And getting to create a character for that many episodes was really pretty cool experience. And Tamira was like very close to me. She was a super dork, and that's how I ultimately at heart felt, you know, like your feelings in high school and your feelings around people, and like your first love, or saying the wrong thing, or wearing weird clothes, or just generally not feeling totally comfortable in your own skin. That's how I felt for a lot of high school. So it was fun to play that character.
Wow. Now my next question, I want to clarify for myself and the viewers. I don't know if you remember me mentioning in the email. Now, if you don't mind me asking, it says on Google, I don't know if, you know, things can be wrong on Google.
Yeah.
It says you played Courtney for 2 episodes, the first 2. Is that true?
I was confused by that question because no, I didn't.
Okay. It's like what? Like it says, because it says like on Google, Courtney's also voiced by her. It's like,
I don't know. I'm so curious. Maybe somebody got the info and they just didn't didn't get the complete info. As far as I recall, although it was a long time ago, I never voiced anybody on Total Drama but Heather. I may have auditioned for Courtney. Like, I think there were a couple characters that I auditioned for. I don't remember who they all were. So maybe that was it. Like, I auditioned for her. And I love Emily Claire Barlow. She's great. So yeah, no, I didn't. So I don't know. Maybe that's just a myth.
Hey, at least we solved
As
it.
far as I know, I only ever played Heather. Unless I like left my body for a minute and played Courtney. I don't know. You know what I mean?
At least we solved that mystery, though. At least
I know. It's good that you asked the question. Exactly. I was like, oh, that's curious. I don't know.
Yeah, because it says on Google, like, it says according to an interview that Emily Claire Barlow, it doesn't say like the source.
Yeah.
She says that Rachel Wilson was Courtney for the first 2 episodes. I'm like, that doesn't sound like Rachel. It sounds like Emily through the whole thing.
I know. And I'm always curious of like, what is the source? But people might hear something or, and then I know people can add to it and they, yeah. So dispelling the myth, I'm pretty sure it was always Emily Claire Barlow, but it definitely wasn't me. Yeah.
Well, here and here first, folks. Rachel has said it. She was Heather.
I don't want to like get anyone in trouble, but I'm pretty sure I only ever voiced Heather. Yeah.
Thank you for that one. Thank you.
No problem.
Now, can you walk me through the audition process? How did you land the iconic role, Heather? How did you in that role?
Well, as I said to you earlier in the interview, I hadn't done really any animation up to that point. And I remember there were a couple characters I was auditioning for, but I remember being quite drawn to the Heather role. And what do we do? I definitely had a callback. I can't remember if it was like you went in, they had you read, and then you got some notes, and then you came back. Sometimes you have those auditions where they like would just sort of have everyone there and then slowly weed you out, which is sort of an old-fashioned way to do things. Like now, you always would get a callback, and you get called back. I can't remember how it happened, but it was either one time going there, and then I stayed there for a long time and just kept reading a couple different roles, and then it was Heather. And I remember the Heather, or it was it's very confusing, or I might have come back for one callback. As I say, long time ago. Older person now, pardon my memory, but I think that when I read the Heather part, I had recently seen or was sort of inspired, or they might have put her as this character's kind of like Rachel McAdams type Mean Girls character. So that was super helpful and informative in the audition room, because I was like, oh yeah. Because if you could see someone in your mind, it's fun for me, at least. It's fun to try to emulate that person. And that character that Rachel McAdams created was so great in Mean Girls. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it that sort of slant. And that's what I remember auditioning sort of with her as a muse, or like as a sort of prototype for the character. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Rachel McAdams, Rachel Wilson, Rachel.
And I think she's great. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll try my best.
You did, in my opinion, Heather, like Heather's a character, like you did an amazing job as her. I can't see anybody else portraying her, Rachel. So you did.
You're so sweet, Joe. Thank you so much. I will tell you that means a lot to me, because because it was my first animation, I had a lot of insecurity, especially in the first year. And I was really lucky. There were some great directors, Deb Topman, and there was Merlian. There were a couple really great female directors.
Really?
Helped a lot. Like Deb particularly, I credit her for me in terms of my growth as an animation actor, because I didn't know what I was doing in that first season at all. And I remember thinking, because you can get fired. I was like, I don't know. Hopefully they keep me around. And luckily they did, but I didn't know, because I was not experienced. I wasn't as experienced as, like, say, Scott McWhord at that point, or Enza. They had all sort of done a lot of animation before. And Emily too. Like, lots of people had a lot of experiences doing it. So it was really my animation education, like 101 for 5 seasons or whatever, 6 seasons. It was a pretty cool gig, and I'm grateful for it.
That's so cool. Like like every time I rewatch total drama after like interviewing the people, it like feels weird. If that makes sense, like a good weird. You know what I mean? Like Rachel.
Yeah.
It's like when I see like Owen and Trent, I'm like, that's Scott. When I see Duncan, that's Drew.
Yeah,
When I
it's
see now
weird.
Heather, I would be like, that's Rachel.
Well, also because like if you really like the show, you probably get close to the characters. You kind of get to know them, and you're like, oh, they're like that. And then you meet someone, and you're like, oh no, but they're actually voiced by this person who's different, right? Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow.
Your favorites? Who do you like from the show?
Favorite characters wise?
Yeah, like who do you enjoy?
Ooh, probably Heather. Honestly, because I thought she was.
Thank you. That's very very kind.
I like Heather, Owen. I don't know if you see the Owen statue back there. Do you see that? The little Owen wooden statue?
Yeah, yeah, I can see him. Oh my god.
Owen.
I like Owen too.
I like Owen, her, and then Duncan probably. Drew.
Duncan's great. Duncan's great. Yeah.
It's hard to
such a lovely guy too, isn't he?
Oh my god, Drew is like so nice to me. Like honestly, thank you, Drew. Also, before we continue, thank you, Drew. That's all.
Thank you, Drew. I say thank you, Drew too. Thank you, Drew, because he connected me with you. So
yeah. Like honestly, like it's hard to choose like a favorite character. Like it's total drama. Like when it came out, like in 07, 08, like I was like a little like 6 or 7. I think
you were young, huh? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and just wow, it's just crazy, you know. Like it makes me want to cry, you know, because I love total drama so.
I'm so glad it was that kind of a show for you, Joe. That's very cool.
I must have seen like every season, like you know, like Island, Action, World Tour, Revenge of the Island. Oh my god, Pakatu, All Stars, Pakatu Island. I must have seen like every season like a good 20, 30 times. Like I'm that crazy about the
It's so great. Well, it's the kind of show I feel like you can watch because it's just entertaining and you can watch it a couple times. And definitely, I've like had my friends' kids say that they like really enjoy it and they rewatch. Yeah.
Yeah, especially like my little niece, like I call her little sister, the one that drew that picture for you. Her name's Danielle. She loves Heather. Like, and she's sadly at school. I want her to meet you, but she's at school.
Tell her I said hi and tell her thank you so much for her picture. It's really great.
Thank you. I'll tell her for you. Like,
That's
hey,
like, only 11 and she drew that. That's amazing.
If you want during this interview, you could be like, hey Danielle, and you have Heather voice if you want to.
Hi Danielle. I really think you did an amazing job drawing Heather, and I really appreciate it because it's very important that Heather looks good. Thank you. Also, as Rachel, thank you so much, Danielle, for drawing a great picture of Heather.
Thank you, Rachel. Like, oh my god. Now, favorite total drama character other than Heather for you? Who's your favorite?
Well, I mean, I feel bad, and it's not just because I really like him in real life, but because I don't mean to leave out all the amazing other characters because there's so many great characters. But my first instinct was Owen because I just love Owen as a character. He's like the biggest heart, and he's passionate, and he's kind, and he's sensitive. He's like all the things that Heather is not. I mean, I guess Heather's passionate. That's not true. But Owen is just like and I appreciate characters that fail. Like falls on his face and like, you know, just keeps getting up and keeps doing it and gets made fun of and just keeps going and is kind to people even when they're not kind to him. He's a pretty amazing character. I'd say, yeah, and funny. Like makes me laugh every episode, you know? So any character that makes you laugh every episode is great. And a team player, like, you know, if you were really on the island and if you really had to pick a person to have on your team, like I think Owen would be a good pick, personally. Yeah.
I'm shocked you choose for your favorite character Alejandro, your guy, technically, you know?
I mean, I like Alejandro, but he's not the nicest guy. So if I was just picking as Rachel, I'd be like, no, I think I'm going to pick the other nicer guy. Yeah. But in Heather's world, yes, he's probably her favorite.
I mean, he's had great voice actors too. He had 2 voice actors, Barco Grazzani and Alex House.
Yes, both. Exactly. They both did really great jobs with him. Yeah.
See, I'm crazy at total drama. I know every single voice actor play every single character.
You know the actors. That's amazing. I know. And there's been lots of incarnations of them. I love Stephanie Mills. I love Lindsay, like Kristen Fairley. There's so many great people who voice Katie Crown, Sarah Gadden. There's like so many amazing, and Drew, obviously. And I just feel like the show, and Chris Prasenza, obviously the show had like that, he's like the backbone, because underneath it is like the host for every season, right? It's pretty cool. Except for the new ones. I hear there's like a whole bunch of new. I haven't got a chance to see the new seasons, but
It's crazy.
Is it crazy? Is it good? Are you liking it?
I like it. It's not the same like the OGs though. I'm sorry. I like my OGs. Like
Right.
like how they're.
You're a diehard Early fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And
I think it's cool that they're trying to do it. That they're doing it again. I think it's very cool.
And then, if you're curious, the new host is, Chris McLean, but Terry McGurn. I don't know if you knew about that.
Oh, amazing! Yes, because he was also writer and producer, right?
Yes. Another one of my friends too.
Oh, good for him. That's awesome.
Another person I've interviewed too. If you're curious, I've interviewed Terry.
You're what?
I've interviewed Terry too. Another person.
Oh, that's awesome! I love that you've interviewed him. Yeah, he was lovely. I remember him, but I didn't get to work with him. Sometimes back before when we did the early days, there were times that also throughout we got to record all together in the booth, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't directly. Well, he wasn't acting in it when I was doing it. He was writing on it, I believe. So, but that was really fun to get to be in the booth with everybody and play off of each other. That was great. Yeah.
Now, favorite total drama season. What's your favorite season?
I like the first one.
Wow. Okay.
I know there's so many good ones. It was very hard to pick, and that was a hard question. Like to think of like what would be my favorite, but I think I like the first one best because you get to meet everybody, you get introduced to everybody, you sort of get to see their like core character traits, and you get to understand the concept of how the show works, and yeah, I just liked the simplicity of the first season. I like the first season. How about you?
I like World Tour because of songs, but I'm also shocked you didn't say World Tour because you won that season.
I know. Heather won. You're right. I know, but I do like the songs. But I still feel like, didn't she almost win the first season?
She was in third place. Like it was for the first season. It was, I think it was Owen, Gwen, and you.
That's right. So I feel like she did pretty well in the first season. So it's okay to be like, I like that season. But I know what you mean. I guess I could have picked the one that she won in, but I don't know. I like the original style of the first season because it was very much a la Survivor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like just sort of the simplicity of like the concept in the first season. But they were super creative about how they made every season different, and it was cool because they tried a lot of different things. I like Total Drama Action too. That was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now for sorry to ask like a side question. Did you know you were going to win then that season when you were like looking at your script?
No, I never knew.
You never knew.
No. You just get the script as you went. Yeah. So always, I mean, I remember talking to other actors because you would be like, "Oh, I hope I don't get kicked off this season." It was the same as you would in real life. Yeah.
So you're like, "Oh my god, I got to win the."
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, this is amazing." I just remember in that season, I was like, "I'm still not dead. I'm still not out. I'm still not out." That's cool. Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun to get to do that.
I really the songs too are so catchy in there too.
Oh my god, they're very catchy. I kind of want to like, I wonder if they would do like an album of them. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would buy that in a heartbeat. I'm sorry.
That would be a pretty cool thing to do. I just thought about that right now because it's fun. It's like the musical, Total Drama the musical, first season, right?
I would buy it. I love the songs, like especially the song between you and Alejandro, like "This Is How We Will End It." Do you remember that song at all?
Yeah. Yes, I remember. Oh my gosh, there's so many good songs. What other ones? I don't remember the names of any of them, but I like the group ones too. I like when we're all singing together. You're gonna make me want to go bust out and watch like that whole season just to get a recap of what we sang because I don't remember them all.
Well, if it helps, there's like a compilation on YouTube.
There it is. Okay, I'm into it.
Could you have up?
You can just look it up and then it has all the songs.
Yeah, if you like, I could email too. I could send you.
Okay, sure. I would love that. Yeah.
Like legit, when Dale draws pictures, she actually listens to that. Like.
That's amazing. That's so cool. That's awesome. I love that. And music for people is such a big deal because it's a big deal for me too.
I love music. Wow. Now.
What do you like? Do you play instruments or do you?
Not like I try to sing. Not good. I'm not good at singing. I can't sing good.
But you just enjoy it.
Yes, I love music. Like, I don't know if you remember me mentioned in the email, I actually went to a concert on Friday.
Oh yes. What did
Yeah.
you see?
Okay, did you ever hear the 80s, 90s band? They're not as like popular, but the band Tesla. You ever heard them
Oh
before?
yes, of course.
You have, you have heard them.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they sing like love songs, signs, a whole bunch of.
Yes, yes. Were they in concert?
They were around my area, like at least 2, 3 hours away. I got to see them.
Oh, so fun. And how was the show?
A lot of fun actually, because believe it or not, I interviewed the lead singer, and he
Yes.
actually got me and my family tickets to see him.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's
And
amazing.
he gave me backstage passes, so I got to meet him finally in person and the whole band.
How fun was that? Was it so fun?
It was awesome. Like, I had a fun time.
What a
Honestly.
cool thing. That's cool, Joe. That's very cool.
Like, he's a nice guy. Shout out to my buddy Jeff. His name's Jeff Keith. He's really cool.
Amazing. Amazing. Hi, Jeff.
So
That's cool. That's always a very fun thing to do too, because when you like a musician, to get to meet somebody or like go backstage or see their show is like, that's pretty special and cool.
yeah. Now, if you were really on an island, you remember this? What 3 famous people, dead or alive, would you bring with you on your island? Who would you-
This is so hard, this question, because I'm like, there's so many famous people I'd want to be on the island with. And weirdly, as a sidebar, I just wanted to tell you, I used to have a question that I asked people at parties when I was younger. And
Okay.
this is weirdly close to the question I always ask people. I would say, if you were stuck on a desert island and you could only take one musician with you, weirdly, because I like music, who would it be? So it's like kind of similar, not the same exactly. But so in that vein, I guess I would answer first from that. In terms of musicians, I would want to take Bob Dylan with me, likely,
Ooh.
because I am a big Dylan fan. And even though my musical taste has changed over the years, I feel like his breadth of knowledge of music and style is like pretty diverse, and you wouldn't really get sick of him because he has such a knowledge of all different types of music. Also, he probably has some pretty cool stories. Who else? I also really like Joni Mitchell, but I was like, that too many people from singer-songwriters from the 60s and 70s. I basically would just want to bring a whole bunch of songwriters from the 60s and 70s with me. I mean, Stevie Nicks would be pretty cool. And then I was like, well, I can't just have musicians. I'll have to also have like an actor. And I don't know if you've been watching, I'm a big Joni Mitchell fan. So also just, I would have so many questions for her about her career and how she wrote, the way she wrote, because it was such a beautiful poet. But I've been watching Ted Lasso, and I've watched it like several times now because my son really likes it. And I love the character of Rebecca. I love Hannah Waddingham. I just think she's so great. I would want to go with somebody to a desert island that seems like they just could really make you laugh. And she seems like she's very funny and smart and, you know, just sort of is a relaxed human. You want to go to a desert island with people who are somewhat relaxed too, I would imagine. Anyway, it's not that well-rounded. I also thought like I should pick a scientist or a political activist. I'm like, there's a lot of people that I want to know a lot of things about them. I just watched a very cool documentary last night about the photographer Nan Golden, and she would be a cool person to go to a desert island with because I bet she'd have some amazing stories. She did a lot of photography during the 70s and 80s, and she's an activist and a photographer. And if you get a chance to see it, the documentary is called All the Beauty and the, oh no, I can't remember right at this exact moment. I'll remember it before the end of the interview and I'll tell you. It's on HBO Max. And really beautiful photography. Very kind of intense subject matters and real and tough and beautiful. I like the documentary a lot. But that might be like, you know, if you're going to a desert island, do you want to go with like, do you want it to be light or heavy? I don't know, because those are the only people you're going to talk to for the rest of your life, right? It's a really hard question. How about you?
I know my musician. You said a musician, Freddie Mercury. That's my favorite singer.
Oh yes, amazing.
That's my favorite singer of all time.
So happy with Freddie Mercury on a desert island.
Like, I'm sorry, that's my
Music.
I love, like, my music taste varies from 50s to 80s. I'm crazy.
Oh yeah. There's so much good music. Did you see the Freddie Mercury documentary? Or not documentary, but the movie?
Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah. He was amazing. I can't remember the name of the actor who played him. It was really great.
Rami Malek, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. He was so good.
Like I love older music. In my opinion, I don't feel like nowadays music. I'm sorry if you do, but they don't make the music the same. If that makes sense.
It's not the same, and I don't know why that is. Like I mean, I have a couple bands that I really like. I don't know if you like The National or if you like, you know, there's some great bands. It's not that there isn't any good music, but because we've heard it, it feels like. Even in the 80s, it felt like they were still making new music. And then after the 90s and 2000s, it felt like we can only be influenced. And ultimately, obviously, music is always influenced by the past. And you're always like recycling, right? Because, I mean, from the original like blues and come right up into, you know, modern day music, we're influenced by music from long time ago, right? And when people are like, oh, it's so new and cool, you're like, well, actually the roots are this and this and this. And that's what I think is cool about music, is it's all derivative of itself, right? But I agree with you. I feel like the bands and the music I'm most influenced by are not recent. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know, I wonder if that will change. I wonder if music will get different. I don't know. I really love Paul Simon. I'm like a really big Paul Simon fan. I love Neil Young. I love like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I like anything sort of from that era. I'm a big fan. I like Emmylou Harris. I like Linda Ronstadt. I like Stevie Nicks.
All the classics. You like all the
classics for sure. And so it's not to say that there's not great music now. There really is, but there's like, if you didn't have to listen to any music from now, you could just listen to music from the past. Like, we don't really need anyone to make any new music, is what I sort of feel like. This is probably a controversial thing to say, but then that would be sad, because all the people who are musicians, we want to hear, you want to make music, right? So, but I'm with you. I agree that there's some pretty great stuff that's been made over the years.
You want to take a DeLorean? You want a Back to the Future car? You want to go back in time and listen?
I mean, how cool would it be to go to, like, you know, an Elvis concert or a Beatles concert, or like my mom said, when that type of music was introduced, like rock and roll, nobody had ever heard anything like that, or like a Led Zeppelin concert, you know.
Yeah, like, oh, that'd be awesome to go back in time.
Or Bob Dylan, when he first performed on stage, nobody had performed like that, so it's pretty cool. Or like blues, jazz. Oh my gosh, first time you ever heard like a beautiful Billie Holiday song or like a John Lee Hooker song. There's so many great musicians that would have been mind-blowing to see them in person the first time play, if you've never heard them before.
You have a great taste in music.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thanks. It's really fun to talk to people about who love music. That's really nice. I tend to like also folk and rock, but also some country, which I didn't really know a lot about country, but like 70s. So like I like, you know, John Prine or like Linda Ronstadt, or like, you know, it's rooted in a lot of country, but then it also has folk and rock and blues and mixtures of things. And yeah, I mean, it's so complicated music, right? You can talk about it forever. And I feel like I only know like tip of the iceberg information about music. I feel like there are real music experts out there, and it is not me. I just sort of know what I like.
Can I recommend my buddy's band? He's a 70s band. Actually, it's a 70s band. Do you remember the band Pilot? Did you ever hear them before?
Yeah, I've heard of Pilot. Yeah.
They sing like Magic, like yes. I can't sing Magic.
So you like 70s stuff too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And he's a friend of yours?
Yes, the lead singer of that band. I actually got to interview him too. He sings Magic, January, a whole bunch of good songs. I highly recommend checking him out. I'm
gonna totally check him out. I know the name, but I don't know if I know the band that well. I'm gonna write it down.
My favorite song by them is called "Just a Smile." That song made me tear up. I'm being
Justice Found?
Just a Smile.
Just a Smile. Just a Smile. Okay, get it down. Pilot, Just a Smile. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Thank you. I always like any kind of new recommends.
And he's really nice, the singer. Like, oh my god, and he still looks the same. But he's older, you know. But he still looks the same.
He looks the same. That's so cool.
Wow. And he was very nice too, believe it or not. After my interview with him, he's like, Joe, thank you for being such a loyal fan. Masachi sent me a signed CD.
Aw, that's real sweet.
I was
That's
like,
real.
oh my god, thank you,
That's
David.
so,
Like his name's
that's so
David.
nice. Well, people really appreciate it. It's like you know what's very refreshing, Joe, about you is your enthusiasm and your like genuine like love for what you're doing. So nice in a world where not everybody is always enthusiastic and passionate. It's very refreshing to talk to someone who has that kind of feeling about life and music. And yeah, you're very joyful.
Thank you. I like being positive, you know.
Yeah, I feel your positive vibes. They're really nice.
Thank you, Rachel. And you're awesome. I want you to know you're an awesome legend. Everybody, Rachel has been really cool. She's like the complete opposite of Heather. She's really
Thank you. You're so lovely. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Now, is there a certain type of role you would love to portray, like a Western sci-fi? Like, is there a certain type of?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so into sci-fi. I enjoy watching it. I feel like if I felt like I could, I might want to, but there's something about sci-fi, and tell me if I'm digressing here for a minute. Tell me if you agree. I feel like you have to have a very unreadable, sort of like chameleon-y type face, because you want to convey a sci-fi mood, which isn't always, I always feel like I'm too expressive. So I feel like that's a detriment in sci-fi, because I don't know if this is true for you. People are still doing amazing jobs acting, but it's a lot of internal acting going on. And I feel like I don't play my cards close enough to my chest. It's too like visible on the outside. So even though I would like to do sci-fi, I feel like maybe it would be hard. Maybe that's why I should want to do it, because it's a challenge. But my first thing that comes to mind is I just kind of would like to play a character that's not a nice character on screen. So someone who's, I know it sounds terrible. The world doesn't need any more evil or bad, but I like the idea of challenging myself to play something that maybe doesn't come as easily, or that I don't look like. Because I do believe that like people are all different ways too. So to play a character that's not just that's problematic, that has like things inside them that are good and bad, and the struggle to I just like to watch characters that are flawed, because I feel like we are, as humans, nobody is really black and white, and there's a lot of gray area to play with, and so yeah, my idea of a part that would be fun to play is maybe not like the most evil human in the world, but someone who's really not a great person would be kind of a fun thing to play, if that makes sense.
So like a Heather, maybe? Like that?
Like Heather, yeah. Or like, did you ever see the movie Heathers?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like Christian Slater, I think it's with.
Yeah, like Mean Girls, or maybe like just not even mean, just like someone who you're like, I don't like their ethics, and who knows, maybe that would backfire. I would play it and I would hate it. But to be able to play something that's challenging, right, that you don't always get to play, is like what I would like to do. And horror is fun. I've done some horror. I really like that medium. But so I guess I would think more dramatic, and sort of like the despicable, not likable character in the movie would be fun to do in any kind of genre, really.
Oh, I could see you playing like a superhero type, like a Wonder Woman type. I don't know. I could see.
Oh, that would be fun. I never actually thought about that. A superhero movie would be fun.
I could see that.
Okay, well, thanks. So let someone know. I'll totally do that job.
Everybody
says I should do it. Okay, cool. You should hire me.
Everybody watching the next superhero.
Everybody watch it. That would be really fun, actually.
That'd be cool. Now,
well, and because the world needs good too. So as I say to you that I want to play a character that's not nice, I also think it's important to put good stuff out into the world. So that goes along with that.
Yep. Now, is over the years of your career, do you still keep in touch with co-stars and directors you've worked with? Do you still keep in touch?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I luckily have had the opportunity to keep in touch with a number of people that I've worked with. I had maintained for quite a while. Some of my friends from Breaker High, my cast members, friends from Breaker High, Tyler Levine and I are friends, and my friend Terry, she is Terry Colombino Peck now, but she was Terry Kahn. She played Ashley, and I was friends with Wendy, Kenya, who played Cassidy, and Ryan. We were friends for a while. Like all the sort of crew when we went down to, after we did Breaker High, a lot of us moved back down to Los Angeles, and so in my 20s we all sort of like hung around together, and that was fun. Whenever I get a chance to work with somebody on a project like a film or TV show, I always do make an effort to keep in touch, especially if you feel like you've had a connection with someone, because it's hard. This job, like a lot of jobs, is the transient sort of one where you're like, yeah, oh my gosh, I like you so much, let's keep in touch, and then you don't always, right? Because people go back to their jobs. And I had a really lovely experience working with an actress. I don't know if you know her, actor, sorry. I should say actor, not actress. Missy Pyle. We did a series together called Impulse. And we didn't get to do that much together, but she's such a lovely human. And I was like, oh my gosh. And we've stayed in touch, and that's nice. You know, just sometimes you don't know who you're going to end up staying in touch with. And she's a very big heart and very strong, positive, like female role model, I feel like, for women and young girls. I like her ethic. I like ethics. I like her sort of way in the world. And we stayed friends. And all my friends from Republic of Doyle, like Linda Boyd, Kristen Pellerin, and Alan Hocko, like the people that I got the chance to work with on that, it was pretty lovely. And pretty cool when you get to work on a show and then it's a gift if you get to keep friends from a show or a movie. It's really nice. Yeah.
Wow. Such as Drew Nelson.
Yes, exactly. Well, Drew and I, and Total Drama is another whole kettle of fish, because all those people, I've been lucky to stay in touch with a lot of them. And Scott McCord and I worked on a TV show together. We didn't have scenes together, I don't think, maybe like one, but we worked on a show called Carter. We did a season. I did a guest spot, and so did he. We're in the same episode, so that was fun because we'd never done anything on camera really together. Just we'd only been in Total Drama together, so that was fun. Yeah,
that's awesome. It's like a little mini Total Drama reunion.
Yeah, it was a Total Drama reunion. Yeah, and Total Drama, like, it's just cool over the years. And Christian Potenza and I had been in stuff together before too. We were in a film together when we were younger, and Christian and I actually. We did a play together before we did a Total Drama way, way long time ago. It was a Russian play called Dear Elena. And so we met actually doing an onstage play. And then like when I was like really young, like 19. And so we knew each other way before we did Total Drama. So that was cool too. And he's lovely. Very, very talented, Fenny.
Way before the island.
What? Sorry, what'd you say?
Way before you joined the island.
Way before we joined the island, we did a play together. It was a pretty dark play, a Russian play about students who turn against their teacher. Yeah, in Toronto. It was quite intense. Yeah, and yeah, so it's cool because Toronto is a small place and Canada is a small place, so usually you get the chance to work with people, multiple times, and that's kind of nice.
Wow. Now, if you weren't a voice actress and actress, what do you think your career would have been, and what other interests and hobbies besides acting and voice acting?
Well, that's a great question. It's one that I ask myself often because it is a tough job. Look, there's lots of tough jobs out there. Not saying it's tough all the time, but doing any kind of job as an artist is tough because you have your mind to contend with, which is like, are you really, Are you good at what you do? Are you gonna get this job when you're sort of always, even at a certain level. I've talked to actors who have very high level acting careers, and they say, yeah, you're always worried about the next job, right? So the hard part is sort of it's keeping yourself focused and saying, I want this job and I want to keep doing this job, which I do. But there's always the time that you daydream and say, oh, what if I had done this or what if I had done that? So I guess I really like kids. So I would have maybe done something with kids. I'm not sure what. I don't know that I have the patience or the sort of like organizational skills to be a teacher, but I feel like I could do something to do with kids. And I like singing, although I wouldn't be a singing teacher because I don't have that technical ability to teach singing. But I would do something in the world of that. Maybe even like some kind of social work or therapy. But the hard part as an actor is I was worried about doing that because I over empathize, and then as a therapist you have to be able to stay kind of neutral. So yeah, other jobs. Well, and hilariously, when I was very young, I wanted to be either an astronaut or an archaeologist. I'm not sure why, because I don't have the desire to do either of those things anymore. But I remember telling people, oh yeah, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be an archaeologist. I feel like maybe I was just going down the list of career options alphabetically, possibly. And I was like, A occupations. What's an A occupation? But I don't know. The idea of going into space right now, that scares me. And when I was a child, it didn't. So different things scare you different times in your life, right?
So do you have like any hobbies? Like I personally love to write like scripts, and I like to make collages. Like I don't know if you see this collage of Heather I made. I love to make collages.
Oh, you're so sweet. So I do see it. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. That's awesome. I'm looking at it right now. There's bald Heather right in the middle.
With Duncan, I had to put you and Duncan together.
There's Duncan. Oh, that's awesome. Weirdly, I'm not even joking. I like to collage. I swear, it's so relaxing.
It is.
Relaxing? Yeah.
Yes.
I really enjoy collaging, and I haven't done it in a long time, and that's a good reminder. I'll do things sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, where if you're feeling sort of like creatively stuck, or you want sort of like an idea or a vision for what you're supposed to be doing, sometimes just in my life in general, I'll take like magazines and just like subconsciously pull out images and then put them all together, kind of like, people make a vision board. So sort of like that. But without too much structure, because I kind of get too hung up on like this exact thing is going to happen, because I feel like that's just makes me more anxious. So I'll just sort of put images together and then sometimes look at the collage like a year from then and say, oh, did any of these things feel like they happened, or is there something in this image that looks like you kind of manifest in your life? Yeah, so I like that. But also just the actual physical cutting and gluing is like very relaxing.
It is. It's therapeutic.
It's therapeutic. I agree. Have you always collaged?
Oh yeah, for like since I was like, I want to say like in 8th grade, 7th grade.
That's awesome. That's so great. Yeah, it's really fun. It's a very cool medium. And I feel like it's not something that everybody does. So when you said you like to collage, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I really enjoy. I do. I enjoy collaging. I play guitar. I like to play guitar and sing for myself. Sometimes I post it like on my Instagram page for my friends. But I'm a bit like, I'm always a little like, I don't want someone to think I'm putting it out there as like, look how good I am, because I don't feel that I'm not a professional musician. It's just more
proud of yourself. You want
to share with your friends, or you're like, oh, maybe someone else likes music. Maybe you like this song, or you recommend a song for me, or whatever. I like that. And my brother plays and my niece plays, and we have a lot of music in my family. We like to sit around and play guitar, and that's a fun thing and a relaxing thing to do. I play piano too. I'm classically trained on the piano, so I can't just improvise, which I'm like very grateful to my parents for giving me classical music lessons. But basically I can't play anything because I can only play with a piano book, and I can only do it if I practiced, so I need my book because I can read music, which is an awesome skill, but I'm always kind of envious of people who can just sit down and play any old song on the piano. Someone who's like, oh, can you play this or can you play that? And so if you can play by ear, I think that's more of a gift in your adult life, because then you can collaborate with others maybe more musically.
My mom tells me like I have piano fingers. Do you have piano fingers? That's what my mom tells me.
Oh yeah, long fingers.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Have you played?
I'm too nervous. So if I do bad at it, I'm just too nervous.
Oh my gosh, don't worry. It's okay. That's how we learn. You gotta fail to learn, right?
Yeah.
If you just want to mess around with it, my son, what he has in his room is like just a keyboard. So you don't have to have like a big piano, and there's so many things too online, like on YouTube, you can just look up, like say there's a song you like, and it will show you the exact fingering of like your whatever song you're learning. Yeah. So if you're interested, I say go for it. But I also totally get it if it's just not something you're interested into doing.
I love to write scripts. That's what my main hobby is. I love to write scripts, like
That's so great.
movie scripts, TV show scripts. Like you should see, like if you saw, like holy smokes.
That's fantastic. That's really good. And then are you wanting to get stuff made, or what do you?
I want to become a director, screenwriter, director. That's all I want to do. I want to do that in the future, some way, somehow.
Great. Well, then you probably will, because like all you got to do is just keep doing it. People say that whatever you want to do, just do it every day, you know, or do it as much as you can. And then you're just sort of in the habit of it. And then you already are doing it, right? If you're writing every day, you are a writer. That's great. And especially because you have such a wide breadth of knowledge in terms of like artists and music, and, you know, it's like you're sort of following your passion in terms of like doing interviews with people. So you probably are just always sort of plugged in creatively. That's great. It's great for writing scripts, I would imagine. I don't write scripts. I'm so impressed. I like to write, but I've more just done like short stories or poetry for myself. Again, people don't want to read that poetry, I don't think.
so cast you as that superhero, right? Make that.
Yes. Sure, I'll be in your superhero movie.
Awesome.
Write a superhero movie. I'll totally do it. That'll be amazing. I mean, what would be cool is like, what if you wrote a movie and made like some Total Drama Island characters superheroes?
Ooh,
that's just like I had right now, because people already know them, and then wouldn't that be kind of cool to have like Total Drama Island characters as superheroes too? Maybe, I don't know.
That'd be cool.
It's probably easier said than done. As I say, I'm not a scriptwriter, and I think that's a very, very hard job. People seem to think it's easy. They're like, oh, I'm just going to write a script, but I know it is not easy. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't feel like sports. So a lot of people I know from like Total Drama, like Terry McGurran loves hockey.
He loves hockey, yeah.
Drew loves basketball, I've noticed, with the Raptors.
Yes.
So do you have any favorite teams and favorite sports, Rachel?
So I'm not a huge sports fan, because I did grow up a bit of a drama nerd, but I do play tennis, and I do downhill ski. My parents gave me both those skills, which is pretty cool. And my son is a big baseball fan. So mostly I didn't really know and wasn't into sports, but then as a mom, you gotta kind of like what your child likes. And so we've done a lot of baseball games, like the Blue Jays. So I know they're not really doing that well, but I would say they're my team. And I'd say they've had some years that they did really great, you know, but just maybe not every year. The year that the Raptors won was a cool year too. I don't remember when that was, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago. Remember when there was that big thing in Toronto? That was pretty great. And but yeah, I can't profess to say that I'm a very true blue sports fan. But I do enjoy a baseball game, and I support the Blue Jays.
Yeah, see, me and Terry McGurran, me and him text back and forth about hockey, because I have a favorite hockey team. My favorite hockey team is actually in Canada. I like to tease him with my team because he's a Senators fan. I'm a Canucks fan.
Okay.
The Canucks, the Vancouver Canucks.
You like the Canucks?
That's my favorite team.
Okay.
And I even like to banter with one another. It's so fun.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. What about the Habs?
Ooh, the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Montreal. I like the Canucks though, because ever since I was 3, I got like a game-used hockey stick from their captain at the time.
Oh, so of course you like them. That's amazing. That's very special. When you were 3?
Yes.
That's cool. And you still have it?
Oh yeah, it's like framed in my room and everything.
Amazing. That's
and
really
then you mentioned the Canadians. I'm actually friends with the head coach, Martin St. Louis.
Oh my gosh, you know everybody.
So you mentioned like the Canadians, because I love hockey. That's my
That's
sport.
really cool. Well, so my friend Mark O'Brien, who was on Republic of Doyle, who's had an amazing career, was a big Habs fan, at least as far as I remember. And so just makes me, that's the only reason I know about the Habs, because he used to talk about them all the time when we worked together. And he's really great. If you get a chance to watch any of his stuff, he's like very, very good. Shout out to Mark O'Brien. I just saw him in a movie, a little while ago, called The Righteous. That was really good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, favorite food. What's your favorite food, Rachel?
Okay, you're gonna laugh. I mean, I have a lot of favorite foods, but
Okay.
mostly I'm always obsessed with rice pudding.
Rice pudding.
But no raisins. I'm like very deeply offended by raisins in any of my rice pudding. I don't know why. I'm very accepting of it now. I used to wonder why this was. I also like tapioca pudding, but I would say topping the list is rice pudding. I mean, I couldn't eat it for every meal, but if there's something I crave, it's often that. It's rice pudding. My family likes to make jokes where my niece likes rice pudding, and so we were talking about doing a world rice pudding tour, but then like my brothers are giving me a hard time stuff like, there's raisins in like most rice pudding and you're not gonna like it. I'm like, well, I'm only gonna pick the countries that don't have raisins in their rice pudding. So we have a big joke that I'm gonna do a world tour because a lot of cultures have a version of rice pudding. Anyway, it's a weird one, I know, but I like rice pudding. How about you?
So if you ever come, I'm in Chicago. That's where I'm located. So if you ever come to Chicago, I'm giving you some rice pudding without raisins. Which I got.
Hey, I'm so into it. What do you like? What's your favorite?
I like pasta or burgers.
Pasta and burgers. You guys have some good food in Chicago too. I've never been.
You gotta come here. We have good people.
Oh, I gotta come. I've heard from so many people it's so great there. And I feel bad in my life that I haven't gone there yet. I've got to lots of other places, but never to Chicago. So I'm gonna come. Deep dish pizza?
I don't like the deep dish. I just like
Is that a Chicago thing though?
Yeah, that's a Chicago.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Is it too rich? Like too thick?
I just don't like the too much sauce.
Too much sauce. Yeah.
Oh, I'm Italian.
What's your favorite traditional like Chicago thing that you would recommend if people come?
So my favorite pizza place then would be Bocce's Pizza.
Bocce?
Bocce.
Yeah.
Okay. They sell 30-inch slices for $8.
Oh my gosh. Is it delicious? It's delicious. For $8. Okay. I'm in there. I'm in.
I like me and Brian Fowler, that's another Total Drama alumni. Me and him talk about pizza. He actually came to Chicago before, he said, for like a fest, and he loves pizza too.
He loves pizza, yeah. Oh, yeah. Brian's so great too. I haven't seen or talked to Brian for so long. He's so great. So great. So good on the show.
Are there any projects you have in the works? Anything in the works for Rachel?
So we sort of talked about the last one, The Invisibles and Dear David. Those were the last couple ones. And I also did a recurring last year on Hardy Boys, which the season is, I'm pretty sure they're done. But I'm excited to see that. Those would be like the most recent ones that I've done. And I have a couple sort of upcoming, but I'm not supposed to talk about them yet. They're very early works. So a film that I'm sort of like, I don't know for sure if it's going to go. So we're just sort of like keeping it on the DL for now.
The NDAs, basically.
And what?
NDAs. Yeah,
NDAs, exactly. And also voice-wise, I haven't been doing any animation, but I'm always open for anything related to Heather, and just like I've been doing some voice commercial work and stuff like that too. So it's cool.
They should make Heather come back. I want her to come back.
I mean, I would love her to come back. Absolutely. I don't know if she's like, I don't know if they're just, because I know they had a Total Drama like babies one.
Oh, Dramarama.
Dramarama, yeah. And I think maybe they didn't want her to, because she's too mean. I don't know exactly what they did. I don't know. I haven't watched the most recent ones, but yes, it would be so fun. I would be into it, of course.
We haven't seen Heather since like All Stars. I would love her to come back maybe like in the new seasons, like it's a cameo appearance or something.
She comes as a cameo, yeah, and she just appears or whatever. I know. It would be really fun. I would be totally into that. So yeah, let's put her in the universe.
Yeah. Hey Terry, bring Rachel.
Thank you so much for the shout out. Yeah. No, it would be really fun. I loved working with all those guys, and it'd be my pleasure to come back.
Wow. Now, what advice would you give younger people who want to become an actress and voice actress? What is your advice? What do you got?
Well, I would say make sure you don't want to do anything else more, because I'd say it does have to be your main focus. You can always have like a Joe job. I had lots of Joe jobs, and I don't mean to say your name in relation to jobs. Sorry, Joe. You could have a part-time job. You can have other jobs because obviously we all have to feed ourselves and like make a living. But to prioritize it, right? Your priorities, like where you spend your time and energy, is where you're going to go. And I would say, like in terms of voice, just listen to things that you like listen to the radio, listen to YouTube ads, listen to how people speak, listen to like cadences, listen to how things are being sold right now in terms of like advertising, because there are different times in the advertising world where I've worked where, you know, it's a bit more of a hard sell. It's like really big and animated and you know, you're really giving it the sales pitch. And then recently it's been a little bit more casual, like you and I just be talking, like, you know, you should really come to Tangerine because they have the best credit cards. And you're like, oh, but you don't sound like you're selling to me, but you are, because it's sort of like, we want it to sound like a friend. We want it to sound like somebody casual who's just talking to you, who's giving you warm, friendly advice. So, you know, to sort of be aware of whatever is selling style right now. So when you are auditioning for things, you can be aware. And then in terms of on camera too, maybe to choose, it doesn't have to be one person, but to choose a style of actor or an actor that you like and sort of backtrack like what kinds of things they did in terms of how they educated themselves. Like, did they go to theater school, or what kind of classes did they take, or, you know, because I would say for me, when I was younger, I haven't been in one for a while, but I always value an acting class because it's where you get to collaborate with your peers. You get to have feedback, immediate feedback, especially if you're interested in on camera. You get to see yourself on camera. You get to see what it looks like when you act and what things you could improve on, what things you can change. So it's really valuable, I think, to be in a good class. Make sure you don't go to classes just taking your money and isn't teaching you stuff. You know, research them. And but yeah, classes are good. Choosing an artist that you like and sort of researching how they made their career happen is always a valuable thing. And you know, and in terms of, same for animation, like watch animation. If you want to do voice acting, like what characters do you like? How do they work? How do they use their voices? And then some valuable advice Scott McCord, is like, when you're preparing for an animation character, if you have an audition, it's important to still approach it the way you would approach any character on camera or on stage. You know, just because you can't see the face, you still want to have objectives and intentions and obstacles, and, you know, all the things that we use to prepare on camera can apply for animation too. And yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of what I did when I was younger, just to be around other people who are doing it and who are passionate about it. And then all that information is just going to be all around you, you know, even if it's just in community theater at your school, in your hometown. Because I started community theater, you know, and then did theater at school and then did theater at university. And yeah. And actually I got my first agent from a friend of mine, Jillian Stevie, who, as you probably don't know the show because you're very young, there was a show in Canada called Road to Avonlea, which starred Sarah Polley.
Oh, yeah, Zachary Bennett was in that, I think.
Yeah, Zach Bennett. Oh, yeah, I love Zach. Hi, Zach. Is he watching? Anyway, but he, but my friend Jillian Stevie's mom was my drama teacher in Niagara at my high school, and she was on Road to Avonlea, and she's like, you should come into Toronto to meet my agent. You and your brother should come. You could do commercials. So that was when I was like 12. So by being in a theater environment or an acting environment, you know, that's where you're going to get all your information, and people will probably like have suggestions and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing I would say, because it is an industry that preys on people who want to do it, and if they don't have the information, like a lot of people get scammed. So to be aware that if you're going to an agency and they're asking you for like what seems like a lot of money, just, you know, do research and make sure all agencies are asking for that. Sometimes they'll say, oh, you know, we'll get you headshots and we'll get you we'll get you this and that, but you have to pay us this much, or you have to pay us this much commission. I had some problems when I was younger with an agent taking quite a large amount of commission when I was very, very young, when I first started. And it's because my mom didn't know any differently. So, you know, we just did what we thought was the right thing. But to research and make sure that you're not extra paying for things, overpaying for classes, because it can be an industry that takes advantage if you don't research properly. Yeah.
I always like to add, like, stay humble. Remember where you came from, you know?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Always. Yeah. important in every walk of life, in every job.
To we mentioned Zachary, but that's another person I've interviewed. He's another Total Drama alumni. He played Sean.
Yeah, he was Sean. Yeah. He's lovely. He's like so great. He loves music too.
Yeah, I think he was like a musician too. I think he was like in a band. Yeah.
He's a very good musician. If you get a chance to watch his or to listen to his music, Tin Star.
Oh, Tin Star. Tin Star. I know you're talking about.
The Tin Star Hurts.
Tin Star something. Well, I'm gonna look up.
Look him up.
I'll look up.
We got a shout out. I don't know if he's still doing the band, but it was very good. He was very good. I never saw him in person do it, but I heard recording. I'll look him up too. Hang on, Tin Star.
Let's see.
Tin Star. I think he's just might be called. Oh, Tin Star Orphans.
That's it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're quick. I'm not quick. You're quick.
Well, Days of Blinding Fear was the album that I liked. He did that in 2011.
Wow. So that's. Oh my god. Just to think, that's like 12 years ago now, I think.
No, I know. I mean, listen, Zach also, we all started off as like child actors. Zach too. We've been around for a while. But yeah, it's weird how fast time goes.
Would you be willing to come back on for a part 2, answer some fan submitted questions somewhere in the future?
So how will it work? Like you'll get questions.
Okay, so what I would do is after this interview airs,
yeah,
people would like watch me asking this question to you.
Yeah,
they would comment them in the videos, like like YouTube, the videos comment section, or that, and I'd post on do you know the social media platform Reddit?
Yes.
I would say I'm gonna be interviewing Rachel Wilson for a part 2. One question per person, because it gets hectic. Trust me.
Yeah.
One question per person. And then I would say like Heather Lover 16. I don't know, 16. Ask them the question. I would say.
And then ask a question, and then so we'll just do it back and forth, you and I, and you'll just read the questions like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, sure.
That'd be cool because okay, so Peter Oldring's coming back on for part 2. Another Total Drama legend. So many. I feel bad. There's so many questions for Peter. It's like over 100. So I don't know how many Heather will get. So I'm just letting.
Probably only be able to do what you'll be able to do, right? Yeah. No, I know. I'm sure people do have questions, and I totally get it. That's like a good way to do it too, because then people can actually answer, and because it's hard when you don't know where to send the questions to or who to ask.
And if you like to, I could send you the questions ahead of time, because if someone asks you like, "Oh, how to feel in this scene," so you could like look back. If it helps, I can send you the questions ahead of time.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's probably very helpful.
Because I'll be like, guys, there's a deadline on this, and then I'll give you like at least a week before the interview. I'll give you the questions.
Okay. Yeah, because remember, brain that is not that good. If you ask me what happened in episode, 45, I might be like, I don't know.
Or yeah, how did you feel during this scene? How they're like.
I don't know. Yeah, it was long. It was a long time ago, which is kind of crazy. But
now, before I ask you my last question, do you have any questions? Do you have any?
Do I have any questions? Well, I'm just curious. In terms of your writing, like, what's your goal in terms of like what do you want to write? Do you want to do a film or TV show, or like, what are you hoping for in terms of screenwriting? Like, what's your plan for? Your own projects.
I'm like right now I'm like writing like a horror script. I like horror.
Yeah, fun.
I'm like, it's like a horror movie type of thing. Like I want to become like hopefully people could see like a movie I made or TV show. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah, amazing. Do you have any like inspirations for horror movies that you like people that you like that you want to emulate or that you are inspired by?
I like a horror author, Stephen King.
Oh yeah, he's so good. Oh, did you see In the Tall Grass?
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, so that was scary. I almost did not want to watch that one. I had to have my head like choked. It was awful. It was like really, really scary. But he's such a great author, and that's a great person to be inspired by and to emulate. Yes, he's prolific, like written so much. Oh my god.
Or another person who I like I love like horror movies, like like Friday the 13th, Halloween. Do you know those movies?
Yes, definitely.
I could see playing one of the roles as like my friend. He's like an actor stuntman. He also interviewed him. He was Jason in 4 of the movies Kane Hodder.
Okay.
He's a legend. He actually told me he would do like a horror role for me, which is really cool.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
He's
amazing.
nice.
Have you seen The Shining? That's like one of my favorites.
Oh man. Oh my, with Jack, the character Jack Torrance. Jack.
So scary. I rewatched it this year at Halloween, and I was like, this movie is still very scary.
Did you see the sequel, Doctor Sleep? Did you see that one yet?
No, I didn't. Is it good?
I saw clips. I didn't see the whole thing yet, but I saw clips. That bad based on.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. As I say, I'm like a little bit scared of them. It's not like my favorite. I watched The Last of Us. Like I prefer a little bit. That's horror, but kind of like thriller too at the same time. It's not a movie, but did you see The Last of Us?
With Pedro Pascal, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you like it?
That was pretty good. It was really good.
Pretty high octane. Like I was kind of bummed when it ended because it was very well done. Like every episode was like very fast paced and good.
Or what's another good horror movie series? You said your friend was in it, or your friend is in it. Tyler Labine. He Escape Room. Did you ever see
no, I haven't seen it. It's good.
That's good. He was in the first movie. Good movie.
So good. Okay, I'll have to go. I'll have to watch it. I'm just like, I do get scared. So I have to like be like, is this something I want to watch at night? I don't know. You know, it's funny because I can be in them, but I don't necessarily want to watch them. All the time.
Don't watch from at night because it's.
Is
really,
it too scary?
It's jump scary. Just don't.
Okay. Okay. I don't watch it. Okay. I want to watch it for Scott, but maybe I'll watch it in the daytime.
Scott's really good. He plays the character Victor. Highly recommend.
What kind of character is it? What does he do in it?
He's like a mysterious. Like you don't know that much about his background yet. Like that's what they've shown so far. Like you don't know that much about his guy yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh no, he's so good. He's so good. I'm just excited to see what he does with it. I think that's cool, and I think you should make a movie like that. Then you should do it. Thank you. Well, Rachel, is there anything you like to promote and shout out? Like I'll link down below.
For sure. Well, you already helped me so much with it, but when The Invisibles comes out, please, I'll let you know. Give it a shout out. That would be great, and I'll let you know when Dear David's going to be released. Okay. And if anybody's a Hardy Boys fan, take a look. I haven't seen it yet either, but I really liked the last season of that show. I don't know if you guys get it in the States or not, but it's they did a really good job with the series, I thought. And just shout out to you, and I hope people watch your YouTube channel, and also shout out to like all the Total Drama fans, because it's really heartwarming to hear people are still really into the show, and thank you to you for having me on, because you're just a lovely human. Thank you for being so great.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say sorry for the delay, because I received this art a long time ago, but I haven't had the platform to say anything about it. But I wanted to say shout out to Jonathan Bateman for this awesome piece of Heather art. Look how great this is. Look how well done this drawing is of Heather. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's awesome.
That's very detailed. Oh, it's very awesome.
I'm hiding behind it now.
And if you want me to, I could link down your Instagram so people can help follow you. I'll be
for sure. That's so nice of you to offer, Joe. I'm Rachel. Let me just see. My brain, as you know. 1 second. My brain's fine. I think it's Rachel Alexandra. So like Alexandra. Alexandra. I think that's my whole handle. Oh no, hang on, Wilson.
I thought you were Rachel Wilson on there because that's probably why I tried looking for you on there. I was like, it's probably not Rachel Wilson. So it's Rachel Alexandra Wilson.
Rachel Alexandra as my name, but like the actual handle is Rachel Alexandra Wilson, all lowercase, all one.
Oh, I just found it. It says Drew Nelly. Drew Nelson follows you. This is Scott McCord. Oh, and who he? I just followed you, Rachel. If you got that.
Great. And then if you follow me, then I'll follow you back.
I just followed you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. It's such a pleasure. It was really nice to meet you. It was really nice to meet your mom. Donna? Is that your mom?
Yes.
She's really nice.
Thank you, Rachel, for being an awesome, amazing guest. I had a fun time chatting with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe, for being an awesome host. I had a great time chatting with you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody, and stay awesome, and you stay awesome, Rachel.
Bye, guys. Stay awesome.